Good morning, everyone. My name is Stefan Soloviev. I'm the Executive Director of the Social Entrepreneurship Observatory. Before I say a few words about the Social Entrepreneurship Observatory and this event, this conference, and this project, I would like to thank all the speakers that will contribute to this year's Social Entrepreneurship Conference. I would also like to thank the participants who will attend this event. I really hope that it will be very interesting for you to hear what we have prepared. We will have very interesting sessions sharing the experiences of Western Balkan countries, but also about the importance of fostering entrepreneurial mindset, regional cooperation, and joint partnerships for impact. We'll also hear about the social entrepreneurship ecosystem in Turkey, and we will have discussions on 3 different topics, group discussions on policy, challenges, and needs of the social entrepreneurship ecosystem. Regarding the Social Entrepreneurship Observatory, it is a regional resource center, a platform for monitoring and collaboration and partnerships for the development of social entrepreneurship in Southeast Europe. We are undertaking these activities through 6 work pillars: research, training, consulting, editing and publishing, networking and coordination, and event organizing events such as these, conferences, various events, AC Talks, which is our brand as well, and many others. Well, you can check our web pages and resources, which will be also shared during this event, to get to know us a bit better. And if you find something interesting, then you can contact us for more information, for partnerships and collaboration, of course. So this event, the Western Balkan Conference for Social Entrepreneurship, is organized by the Social Entrepreneurship Observatory and our partners from Albania, HASTE, with the support from our financial partners, the Swedish Institute. We would also like to thank the company for market research and data analysis, CHIP, and the company for customer satisfaction research, PPP, for also contributing to this event. Without taking more of the time, I would ask Nancy to shortly introduce himself and the organization HASTE, and then we will start with the opening ceremony. Nancy, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Stefan. Thank you to all participants that are attending regional conference. It's my pleasure to be as co-organizer of the regional conference for social enterprises. Here I am as representative of Center Health, Arts, Sport, Tourism, Education, which is a quite new organization founded in 2020, with in focus giving a social contribution in 5 mentioned areas. The objectives of the center are initiating awareness campaigns and capacity building activities, promoting free thoughts, democracy, and civic engagement, and increasing the capacities of youngsters, and developing youth empowerment activities and projects. Also, me myself, I have been involved in one of the first social enterprises in Albania, Kinfol Coffee Library. That's why this topic is very important for me, and hope this conference will be very fruitful for all of us. Thank you, Stefan.
Thank you, Nancy. Thank you for the introduction. Now we will have the addresses for the opening ceremony, and here with us is the head of political and economic affairs from the Swedish Embassy in North Macedonia, Johan Enerbeck. Mr. Enerbeck, thank you very much for being here, for having the time to address the audience about, for us, a very important issue, which is social entrepreneurship development, which we see as a promoter of mitigating and elevating social issues and societal issues, I might add, a little more broader subject rather than social. So please, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, both Stefan and Nancy. Good morning, everyone. On behalf of the Embassy of Sweden in Skopje, please allow me to join the moderators in welcoming you to this virtual conference. I would like to start by thanking all of you for taking the time to be part of this event. And especially, I would like to extend my gratitude to Ms. Donna Bilali, the Minister for State for the Protection of Entrepreneurship of Albania, for being here today and for supporting this process. As some of you may know, in Sweden, there is this established view that the state and public sector are responsible for social welfare. However, Sweden also has a very long and strong tradition of social engagement. And for the last few decades, people are realizing that it cannot only be up to the state to solve today's social and environmental challenges. Companies and civil society also have important roles to play. It makes me very happy to see young professionals like yourselves being part of this movement. And I'm extra pleased, of course, since the organizers of today's event are alumni from the Swedish Institute. Social entrepreneurship has proven to be a successful model in tackling many of social issues of today. Its main ingredients often include innovation, creativity, mobilizing resources, and collaboration in finding solutions. So I will share just a few examples from Sweden. The food waste app Karma, maybe you've heard of it, is connecting restaurants and stores with individuals who by the end of the day can buy leftover food at a discounted price, thereby saving it from going to waste. Jobbentrén is another company that is transforming the lives of newcomers to Sweden by helping them to find jobs and creating more inclusive workplaces. Another is Bamboo, a nature-based carbon removal company that uses bamboo to absorb CO2 and to release oxygen into the environment. And I'm actually seeing the same innovative thinking here in the Balkans. Yesterday, a friend told me about this woman in the Western North Macedonia who is using her horses to give therapy to people with special needs. What unites all these very different ventures is their innovative thinking and commitment to positive change. And I'm sure that that same commitment, it's what has brought all of us here today. The Swedish Institute and the Summer Academy for Young Professionals programs are designed to provide skills and capacity building, know-how exchange, as well as networking opportunities. And that's why I'm glad that so many of us have gathered here today from all over the region to share experience and knowledge, to discuss the state of play, the challenges and opportunities, as well as to share success stories and jointly push forward to further develop the social entrepreneurship ecosystems. So I will not take much more of your time. I would just like to finish by saying that I'm looking forward to the presentations and the discussions that we will have the opportunity here today. And I would like to encourage all of you to continue beyond today's conference, to work together, to support each other, to innovative and co-create together for a better future for us all. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Renovak. Also, we think that these are the efforts that we need as a community of social entrepreneurs, social enterprises, well, policy and decision makers, civil society, of course, here academia, to build an ecosystem which can be conducive enough for social enterprises to thrive and help on national and regional level and local level, of course, to bring these issues, to elevate these issues and to mitigate them and to provide impact, which we all know that they can do that. Then also, I would like to thank the Swedish Institute and the Embassy for supporting us. This is our third year. The Social Entrepreneurship Observatory has been working for 3 years with the Swedish Institute. We have a great collaboration, so thank you for that as well. Now on the agenda is the Minister of State for the Protection of Entrepreneurship of Albania, Ms. Donna Bilali. However, Nancy just informed me that she had some emergency and she won't be here at this time. Probably she can get engaged afterwards, a little bit longer, or we'll see what it is, what happened. So, okay, then Nancy will go to the next session, which is the social entrepreneurship ecosystem. And we have 3 speakers there, please.
Thank you, Stefan, for the floor. Now will be my pleasure to moderate the second session of the conference. And here with me is Mr. Paul Coyle. He is Director of Entrepreneurial Mindset Network. Entrepreneurial mindset is a way of thinking that enables to overcome challenges, to be decisive, and to accept responsibilities for our outcomes. Please, Mr. Coyle, based on your experience, can you share with us the importance of having an entrepreneurial mindset, mostly for social enterprises, and how can we improve the mindset, please?
Okay, thank you very much for the introduction, and it's a great pleasure to be here today, and I'm very grateful to the organisers for the invitation. My name is Paul Coyle. I am the Director of the Entrepreneurial Mindset Network. We're a free membership organisation, and the first thing I want to say to you is that we have members in 96 countries. Now, the reason I tell you that is that if there are 96 countries, that says to me that all over the world, there's great interest in the concept of the entrepreneurial mindset. And that idea crosses geographical, political, and cultural boundaries. So our mission in the network is to promote the use of the entrepreneurial mindset in higher education particularly. And that includes the education of students, of course, and the stimulation of their ambitions to want to become social entrepreneurs. It's our belief that actually you don't need to be running your own business to gain the benefits from having an entrepreneurial mindset. In fact, we believe that anyone can learn to mimic the behaviors that make entrepreneurs successful. How do they think? How do they act? And by understanding and mimicking how they think and act, behaving like an entrepreneur, we believe that that helps people achieve their goals and make a valuable contribution to society. Therefore, entrepreneurs and employees can create economic, social, and cultural value. And actually that can be going on within the private, the public, and the not-for-profit sectors. So in order to help people and organizations to use the entrepreneurial mindset, the network, we've looked at published academic research, and we've thought a lot about professional practice, and we've identified 7 essential entrepreneurial behaviors. And as an aid to memory and learning, we've allocated 1 behavior to each of the 7 letters in the word mindset. So the word mindset itself helps people to recall the 7 essential entrepreneurial behaviors. And it's a rigorous framework for self-reflection and learning. And what I'd like to do is to, within the time that I have this morning, make my comments within that framework. So the first letter of M in mindset stands for meet real needs. And we believe that successful entrepreneurs are the people who are providing a product or service that many people want to use. So thinking about that behavior, meet real needs, it leads us to ask ourselves, well, what needs are currently being met? What needs are unmet? Whose needs are being catered for? Who's being ignored? Of course, when we think about entrepreneurial mindset, we first think about entrepreneurs generating economic value. But our definition of the mindset is also about the creation of social and cultural value. They're equally important. So we might be saying to ourselves, okay, entrepreneurial mindset, is this about people who have money to buy products? But this question, are we meeting real needs, forces us to think about the diversity of people in society, including disadvantaged groups. And that understanding of the diversity of needs, I think that has to be developed at the level of individual entrepreneurs, of social enterprises, and also at government level. So government has to be considering the needs of vulnerable groups in society. And also it has to meet the needs of and empower would-be social entrepreneurs and not discourage them. HE, higher education, I think that also has a significant role to play. And we need the data and statistical analysis monitoring to help us to understand what is really going on in an ecosystem to benchmark and hopefully improve performance. Our second behavior is I innovate. This can be about how social entrepreneurs find new solutions to long-standing problems in society. It can be about how they devise smart ways to overcome the many obstacles they face in starting, scaling, and sustaining an enterprise, because it's not easy work. I think innovation is certainly about diversity and inclusion. And these are the prerequisites for me to new perspectives and new ways of thinking. And I think equally it's important that governments are being innovative, that they introduce legal frameworks and organizational forms that enable and incentivize social entrepreneurs, social enterprises, the entire social entrepreneurship ecosystem. So innovation is equally about what entrepreneurs are doing, as well as what government itself is doing. Our third behavior is N, never act unethically. One of the main criticisms people have of entrepreneurship is, I suppose, when they see very poor role models, entrepreneurs who are exploiting people or resources for their own gain, or people who fail to comply with the law or deliberately don't comply with the law. For example, they don't pay their taxes. Our definition of the entrepreneurial mindset includes what I would say is a non-negotiable requirement for ethical behavior. And this obliges entrepreneurs to consider the needs of everybody in society. It requires enterprises to meet all their legal obligations. And I think equally, it demands that governments build a legal framework that rewards ethical behavior and discourages, even punishes unethical behavior, for example, through the organization of anti-corruption mechanisms, those sorts of things. Our next behavior is D, dare to take risks. And risk-taking is an essential entrepreneurial behavior. It allows us to speak up and question the status quo, to say this isn't good enough, to criticize, to imagine how things could be better. And by taking these types of risks, we open up opportunities that otherwise would not be available. Risk-taking enables us to go beyond saying, well, we've always done it this way. Our next behavior is selling. Selling is something successful entrepreneurs do well. It's about convincing us to buy a new product or service. However, I think in relation to what we're talking about today, selling is also about convincing people of the need for change. If we believe in social entrepreneurship, how do we find ways to convince the people who don't know about it, the uninformed, the doubters, or even the opponents? I think it's easy for us to find ways to collaborate with people who are like-minded, but how do we make arguments that will win over government about the need for regulatory change that will enable the ecosystem not just to exist, but to flourish? Do we have the data that convincingly demonstrates how social entrepreneurship benefits people at the local, the regional, and the national levels? And perhaps each of us has a role in making that case and promoting the importance of social entrepreneurship. Our next behavior is exercise for productivity. This acknowledges it's very difficult to get everything done within the time and money that's available. So there's a need for greater productivity, for knowing how to make the best use of the available resources. It's about knowing how to bid for grants and in-kind support from funders, business, government, donors, philanthropists. And it's about going beyond grant funding and being able to achieve financial sustainability, longevity, and impact. And it's about governments making sure that procedures are set up, the procedures you need to set up and run a social enterprise are not overly bureaucratic, and that they don't make people unproductive. So our final behavior is T, take the initiative. Above all, the entrepreneurial mindset is about taking action. It's not just thinking about, it's not just talking about, it's about doing something. Going from asking, why has nobody else done anything about this, to saying to yourself, what am I going to do about it? And what am I going to do about it today? It's not about being discouraged or giving up. It's not wishful thinking. It's actually hard work and determination. And there are actions that we can take as individuals and collectively. And I'm really excited about today's conference because I think it's really going to help us to identify and to be able to take those actions. So in summary, the entrepreneurial mindset is a powerful tool. I think it helps with individual, organizational, societal change. The application of the mindset will only be successful if it acknowledges the distinct local regulatory framework, national culture, and available resources. You can't go to one country and say, okay, they're working in this way, we'll copy that. That's not going to work. So the benefits for individuals, the mindset makes the most of your talents. Hopefully it's going to encourage young people to consider social entrepreneurship as a career path. For organizations, the mindset helps organizations make the most of the talents of every employee. And I think for society, it helps really make the most of the talents of every citizen. If you want to know more about entrepreneurial mindset and what we're doing, there's a website for you to check out, and we'd be very happy to welcome you as a member. So I think that's just over the 10 minutes, so I'm going to stop there.
Thanks a lot for your time and also for sharing with us. It's very important to know the 7 behaviors of mindset, starting from needs and up to taking the initiative. About needs, we are going to talk also during the group discussion. Thanks a lot, Mr. Coyle. And the other panelist of this session is Ms. Juliana Hoja. She comes as a representative of DIESIS Network and also as director of Partners Albania. DIESIS Network is one of the widest networks specialized in supporting social and solidarity economy and social enterprises covering more than 20 countries. Also, Partners Albania has an extensive experience in Albania within social enterprises. Also, from my own perspective, let me say that it is one of the pioneers in the field. Please, Ms. Juliana, can you share some of your thoughts in the importance of having a strong regional cooperation for improving and developing the social enterprises?
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Nancy. Thank you, Stefan, indeed, for the invitation, and congratulations to all of you for this gathering. For me, it is a true pleasure to address this conference that brings together, as I can see, a wide community of entrepreneurs, support organizations, and policymakers, and donors included. As I was introduced, I'm Juliana Hoja, the director of Partners Albania for Change and Development, which is a local foundation established in 2001, part of the global network of partners. Today in this conference, as I was introduced, I'll speak, in fact, under 2 heads, obviously on behalf of partners, and secondly, on behalf of DIESIS Network, which is our main network when it comes to our social entrepreneurship development work. On behalf of DIESIS, I have to excuse them as they couldn't be with you today because of the conference that is organized in Strasbourg, Social Economy, the Future of Europe, which is one of the biggest gathering of they are expecting 1,000 social economy stakeholders from all over Europe. When it comes to partners, in fact, we work in 4 programmatic areas, and entrepreneurship and innovation development is one of them. The way how we do this is through a set of activities, where first is the research. And considering that we started almost 12 years ago, research it was an important component to set the scene and also to support the advocacy work in Albania, but also in the region. And Partners have conducted more than a dozen of research at the national, but also the European level, being part of bigger consortia. But there are two reports that I wanted to highlight. One is the social enterprises and their ecosystem in Europe, where we wrote the Albania country fish as the very first report, part of the collection of the EU reports covering the entire Balkans and EU. And the study on the impact of social business initiative and its follow-up action. Second is through public awareness and networking. And in fact, this is the main theme of my presentation today. So I'll focus more on this topic during my speech. Third is access to finance and know-how. Over the years, Partners has financed about 44 startups, mainly social enterprises, which employ, as of today, around 122 full-time and part-time employees, contributing indirectly to more than 300 people as part of the market chain. One of the highlights of our work, which Nancy also has been a part of, is the COAST program. We started the second phase of it this month, last month actually, in April, which is doing social enterprises in confiscated assets from organized crime, which is also an idea how you bring together rule of law and economic development. And the second oldest program of us is Green Ideas, where we work with and support green startups. And the last component of how we support social entrepreneurship in Albania is through training and mentoring, which is a major component of our work. And as part of it, we also match private sector with social enterprises through annual events that we do, in fact, twice a year for more than 5 years now. And this event helps not only in terms of mentoring and know-how, but also as a way to facilitate commercial relationships of these two parties. What we assess as part of our work at country and regional level is that despite remaining challenges at legal, financial, and competitive building aspects that were also addressed by previous speakers, in fact, there is progress in the social entrepreneurship field compared to 10 years ago, if we recall when we started. Social entrepreneurship has gained a formal recognition from the European Commission with a social business initiative that started about 11 years ago. Such progress, in fact, it was also noted in the last assessment of the Commission through the Social Business Initiative. And I wanted to highlight here the Social Economy Summit in Mannheim, where we were also part of it, organized by the Commission last year, that provided an important space for all the stakeholders to discuss the future of social economy in Europe and rebring it in the EU agenda. It was an important space, especially for us intermediaries and social and startups from the Balkans, to promote developments, discuss challenges and potentials, and build support and awareness. I wanted to bring also the attention the COVID-19 emergency crisis, which again highlighted the important contribution that social economy has played in mitigating pressing issues at community level. This crisis also provided new opportunities for entrepreneurship, where startups responded to changes, preferences, and needs. According to the latest OECD report, innovative young firms have reacted, in fact, fast and in a flexible way to the pandemic, and have been critical in helping many countries shift towards fully digital work. education and health services, and have provided innovations in medical goods and services. So for all these reasons, we as local actors from Western Balkans should use this momentum to further advance the agenda of social entrepreneurship by joining our forces and voices for a more effective advocacy strategy with institutions at national and European level. In order to serve and support this agenda, Partners Albania launched, in fact, last year, DUA Partner Invest, in a regional forum that we organized with DG Employment and Regional Cooperation Council, also with participation of startups, intermediary organizations, government representatives from all the Western Balkan countries. And DUA Partner Invest is a collaborative platform, 100% Partners Albania investment, which captures all our work in more than a decade and our working experience in support of entrepreneurship through seed funding, research and policy development, and building a conducive environment for entrepreneurship and innovation. The platform is designed as a collaborative platform that brings together startups from all Balkan countries, consultants, and funding and financing institutions, so investors. Despite differences, in fact, we have seen that Western Balkan countries have many similarities when it comes to challenges they face in developing the entrepreneurship ecosystem in relation to capacity to self-organize, visibility and recognition, resource available for their activity, education and skills development. And this platform is designed to contribute to all these elements of the ecosystem. DUA Partner Invest facilitates connections with impact investors and a wide range of professional experts, organizes speeches events based on investors' interest and or funding opportunities, mainly coming from development partners, let's say. A great focus of the platform is to put on promoting the work of and impact of entrepreneurs, members of the platform. It provides updates on the latest regulatory and funding frameworks, regular networking and topical discussion events that we have every month. And we have our own, designed our own communication means through our quarterly newsletter to reach a wider audience. DUA Partner Invest is looking for startups that tackle one or more sustainable development goals through their activity. Their work must have a social impact and help mitigate a social problem. The products and services of such enterprises should be eco-friendly and environmentally sustainable. The platform has been operational for less than a year now, and it is the community of about 137 startups, startups that are formalized, registered, or that have entrepreneurs that have ideas in the design or testing phase. We have about 58 business consultants and 6 investors from 11 countries, going beyond Western Balkans. We hope that DUA Partner Invest will be an added value to many other contributions already taking place in the Western Balkans in support of startup development, but filling also the gap of a joint platform of the ecosystem at the regional level. We believe that for supporting organizations in the Western Balkans like ourselves, collaborations with one another, like this event today, and networking and partnerships at European level remain an important factor towards progress. It has been in these collaborations where we, for example, as partners Albania, have gotten the inspiration, have enlarged our horizons about diversity in entrepreneurship, EU policy, and have been enabled to research the field and build our advocacy efforts. For us as partners Albania, networking is key element in our planning and achieving success. And to this regard, I would like to use this opportunity to briefly introduce you to also DIESIS network and bring you the perspective of a member regarding the benefits of being in a network. As Nancy mentioned, DIESIS network is in fact the widest European network founded in 1997 that supports social economy and social enterprises development. DIESIS has 46 member organizations in 22 countries, representing 90,000 organizations which employ 1.2 million people. DIESIS aims at contributing to the growth of social economy in Europe and worldwide. Together with its members, DIESIS supports the development of social economy, social entrepreneurship, and social innovation by sharing knowledge through peer learning, capacity building, cross-sectoral and cross-country exchanges of good practices and research. Through its initiatives, DIESIS, in partnership with its members, influence national and European policies. And for us as partners Slovenia, this has been the most interesting and beneficial part of being in such a network. Sustainability and innovation are at the core of DIESIS network human-centered approach. DIESIS is an official partner of the European Commission, representing the social economy in the new European Bauhaus initiative. Its presence and activities in Southeast Europe and the southern neighborhood are always growing and reinforcing network's role as a key player to support social and solidarity economy ecosystem. Moreover, this year, DIESIS consolidated its global dimension through major initiatives such as the OECD Global Action Peer Learning Partnership, and cemented the partnerships such as becoming part of the United Nations Task Force on Social and Solidarity Economy. This all happened in a year when DIESIS marks its 25th anniversary, and its international cooperation among national ecosystems in Europe and beyond. Its community has steadily expanded from a nucleus of 3 European members when it started into a global social economy network. Development of the network is closely associated to the learning process that underlines overall internationalization with peer learning at its core. Peer learning within the network and members is exercised through a variety of network activities, exposing members to each other and enabling the space to learn from each other. The enlargement of DIESIS community towards the non-EU members, such as Western Balkans and MENA region, marks an important milestone in the lifespan of the network. As a member, it adds an incredible value to the learning process, making possible to learn and connect from a variety of experiences, innovations, and business models that are usually beyond our operational scope. This approach ensures a steady building learning culture, which removes the competition and instead creates a space to collaborate and create a community. In this way, this network forms a platform that enables interconnection. For us as members, an important moment in the network are the annual meetings, representing an important reflection exercise to identify most pressing challenges and needs within the network and in the countries where we operate. This co-creation process resulted in the DIESIS Network Manifesto of last year, a white paper of the DIESIS Community Engagement Strategy, and gave way to the future network's activities for this year 2022. DIESIS stimulate and facilitate experimentation and learning, and we have a wide range of activities that are designed to create a learning culture and learning from each other. Such activities are implemented systematically in order to ensure continuous learning process through intended events such as meeting with experts, master classes as they are called, or emergent learning by sharing good practices through the famous now lunch break talks that we have on regular basis. DIESIS strongly believe that international collaborations fuels learning, which leads to innovation. The network has proven with their actions the sense of responsibility of assuming further commitments beyond the EU. And with this, I would like to conclude and wishing you all a great and fruitful discussion today. I'll put in the chat box also the websites for Partners Slovenia, Dual Partners Invest, and DIESIS Network. Thank you once again for the opportunity to share with you and engage in the discussion after in the small working groups. Thank you.
Thank you, Juliana, for sharing your experience, your thoughts, and also some opportunities for all the participants to network among each others. And now will be my pleasure to invite Mr. Salahattin Çeriçi. He's the other panelist, and he is trainer at Turkish National Agency. Mr. Çeriçi, please, can you share some thoughts and experience on social enterprises ecosystem in Turkey? Thank you.
Selahattin has also written me that he has internet issues. He's joining and rejoining again. I don't know if you should wait for a minute because he was here a second ago. Okay, so it is basically an introduction to our next session, which is the Western Balkans social entrepreneurship ecosystems and the country profiles. So when he engages back and joins to this meeting, he can just share his experience with the social entrepreneurship ecosystem in Turkey. This one also a kind of country report, not as broad and extensive, let's say, as we did all for our respective countries. But he would also share the experiences in these four areas that we have tackled with. Nancy, I will continue to the next session. When Selahattin joins, I will just introduce him and give him a slot as well. Given that I'm the icebreaker for this session, and I'm speaking first about the social entrepreneurship ecosystem in North Macedonia, I would say that I agree very much with what Juliana said in terms of that the Western Balkan countries have similar challenges and needs in terms of social entrepreneurship development in the area of the ecosystem development, of course, and involvement of many other actors in the field, and providing their own contribution in the ecosystem as well. So to tackle this issue, I would say that in North Macedonia, social entrepreneurship has been developing for more than 15 years. And it has been a turbulent process that was perpetuated through the civil society efforts. So it's a nascent field, and mostly work integration social enterprises are prevalent in the sector. They work in many sectors. I will not name them all, because we will be here for a half an hour. I'll explain every sector they work in. But in terms of the political dimension, because when we write our reports and when we present here, we are focusing on four main dimensions: the political, the legal, the institutional, and financial dimension of the ecosystem for social entrepreneurship. And the political dimension is overarching dimension which enables the flourishing of these other dimensions for the ecosystem as well. So in terms of social entrepreneurship, when we are talking about policy and political dimension, the main challenge is the lack of operational policies for development, support, and promotion of social entrepreneurship in the country. However, a progress has been made because the country has made an effort to start and develop social entrepreneurship as a field by adopting the first national strategy for social enterprises, 2021-2024, with an action plan underlining the activities for its realization. I would not get into the details, of course, in the action plan and the strategy. You can find that online as well. But these activities present the first step towards developing, updating, and implementing policies for the development of social entrepreneurship and enterprises in the country. So when you're talking about policies, it can also be considered as developing an ecosystem for social entrepreneurship, the activities related to the deinstitutionalization processes and the reserved contracts in the law on public procurement. However, I might add, and connecting this with the legal dimension, is that the public procurement reserve contracts in the law on public procurement, they're not operational. So that's why I'm saying that we have them in terms of in writing, but we are not operationalizing them. We are not using them. We are not utilizing these reserve contracts in practice. So the current legislation in the country does not recognize social enterprises as valid and distinctive legal entities. One of the main reasons is being no common understanding of the concept in terms of various sectors. So most of the social enterprises work under the law on trade companies or law on associations and foundations. So but actually, what we have found is that the number of hybrid organizations is rising. Combining two legal forms, non-profit and for-profit, provide social enterprises better access to the already scarce resources and possibilities for exercising entrepreneurship. Then I might add that the lack of regulation adds to the challenges related to access to funding and financing and support. So social enterprise criteria, legal and organizational form, tax policy, public procurement procedures, and trust, mostly trust amongst the stakeholders. So the current development process is encouraging, especially with the start of the TISA project, support to social enterprises, supported by the European delegation. It consists of creation of a legislative framework for social enterprises and for social entrepreneurship and a conducive ecosystem by the sector. And this is the second European project in North Macedonia in the last 10 years. Fostering social entrepreneurship, which was the name of the first one. And by the end of this year, according to the project plan, it is foreseen a draft law on social entrepreneurship to be designed and hopefully next year adopted. Regarding the institutional dimension, institutions play a crucial role in the development of the sector, but due to low public and institutional recognition, there is currently almost non-existent institutional support for social enterprises. The institutional gaps in the country are becoming craters due to ineffective mechanisms, which results in high rates of unemployment, risk at poverty, shadow economy, low investment in education and innovation, and other gaps that can be exploited by social enterprises and entrepreneurs, if allowed to do so. So the institutions need to open the areas of work where they cannot provide sustainable results, only ad hoc solutions to social entrepreneurs and social enterprises, and outsource these areas to them. They can make the most of it. They will make the most of it if given the chance. So the institutional factors present one of the most challenging areas for the development and promotion of the field. And although there are not many institutions that offer support to social enterprises, supporting organizations such as SEED, Public, Social Entrepreneurship Observatory, Connect, and other provide technical support and assistance, consulting, mentoring, and advice. In one important development is that last year, in 2021, a Center for Social Enterprises was established as a public-private partnership that presents a starting point for increased institutional support and a place for social enterprises. So this center can be used also as a field to connect, to network, to even engage and organize events such as these with physical presence in the center. It's a great tool and it's a great, actually it's a great initiative. Regarding the financial dimension, the lack of financial support for social enterprises presents one of the key obstacles for their scaling and lack of increasing members. Paul said that we need to take risks, we need to take the initiative and to innovate. So, and he also mentioned starting, scaling, and being sustainable. And financial resources and financial support is the means to, one of the means to do that. So this situation also contributes to reducing the perspectives of the sector, which actually reduces the social entrepreneurial intentions of new and upcoming social entrepreneurs. They don't see the perspective in the sector. So social enterprises are still project dependent. They rise with a project and they end with the finishing of the project. Small number of them are sustainable. The newest instrument in North Macedonia was the call from the Fund for Innovation and Technology, funding instrument, which was for social enterprises. However, there was a condition to grant the recipients, for the grant recipients that were accepted their application, to open a trade company after getting the funding, which entails more resources in terms of costs, human capital, and skills. And the deadline was 30 days after getting the grant, which also provides or hinders the application of social enterprises. So the financial mechanisms remain moderately small. The scarce available sources of funding is hampering the ability of social enterprises to accomplish their objectives, to scale up and provide support to their constituents. So hopefully with the development of the legislation and accompanying parts, including criteria, funding mechanisms to support social enterprises, will increase and will witness increased development of social entrepreneurship in the country. To conclude, basically, is that the evidence show that the development of the sector is still not enabling. Despite such results and positive trend, as Juliana said, from 10 years before until now, but this positive trend, so new social enterprises are emerging. Well, at least declaratively, right? Because we don't have legislation. And also the political instability of the country raises doubt and is hampering the economic advancement and growth. So the first steps toward the development of the sector were made on the political level, which now requires their operationalization and accountability. We have the strategy, we have the action plan. So now we need to work on realizing it. The ever-promised legislation for social entrepreneurship would be vital for clearing the confusion and providing a clear path of development for the sector. And on an institutional level, there is also the issues of inter-collaboration or intersectoral collaboration and capacity building for both institutions and social entrepreneurs, which still linger. But the start of communication between them is a good sign and of progress. We also had, while we were working on the strategy and the action plan, we also had tutorials for public officials, social entrepreneurs, and social enterprises, which was one of the ideas of one of the senior consultants, Gerhard Brownling, and it was a great initiative and idea because it connected intersectorally connected the people. So they started talking, they started to know each other. Yeah, so slow progress in the financial dimension is also planting the nascent of doubt in the minds of new and upcoming social entrepreneurs. And the private sector not getting involved is not doing any favors as well. So we need to work on involving the private sector as well. And consequently, social enterprises are still emerging from projects and various grants by tailoring their ideas to the call for proposals instead of the other way around. So this evidence supports the urgency of legislation, of tools and mechanisms and a safety net. So to develop the sector, social entrepreneurs and social enterprises, and to ensure the steady development of the sector. I won't take more time. I think that we've got the grip of how social entrepreneurship developments are in the country. I would also like to hear what the other researchers and the other presenters has to say on in the other countries as well, to see where we see the needs and the challenges. Are there similarities and differences? So I would introduce Erilda Krasi. She's a researcher and a practitioner. Actually, she's a social entrepreneur as well, from Solidarity Shop Berat. So Erilda, if you can just, yeah, you're here, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you, Stefan. Hello, everyone. I see that we have so many similarities. Like during all the program, the side program we did, all the group discussions, we saw that Western Balkans is like a big country. You have almost the same challenges, the same difficulties we face. We are in the almost same steps. I have actually prepared a very simple presentation, let's say, if I can share just to, just a second. It's not like really beautiful, but it will help getting, I think I'm the right. Okay. Oh, okay, you see probably the presentation. And first of all, I'd like to start by thanking Nancy and you, Stefan, for this conference. Social entrepreneurship is a very unfamiliar term yet in Albania, but it's still very important because it's difficult to be an entrepreneur and especially a social one in Albania. I'd like to praise the work of Ms. Juliana. I've been following Partners Albania for Change and Development for some years now, and their studies on social entrepreneurship and ecosystem in Albania. It's like the Bible for the social ecosystems and social entrepreneurship in Albania. And in a training last year, I heard that being a social, we do social business and social entrepreneurship in Albania, but we do it because we want it. Because taking the status of a social enterprise in Albania is like another nightmare, let's say. Let's bring a short introduction and country profile of how it is like in Albania, the current situation. it's changing every day, and the data are mostly prior to the pandemics, because Albania was also hit by a devastating earthquake on 2019. So the focus was somehow shifted, let's say, in the other areas of the country. However, civil society organizations, universities have been, let's say, among the first actors that have started giving their contributions in the field by producing reports, studies, and findings related to the social enterprises. And a lot of progress have been made. However, as I mentioned previously, the term itself, it's still relatively unfamiliar, especially in the general population. And some of the social enterprises that exist in Albania are still in the very initial stage of them. They are mainly micro enterprises within the not-for-profit sector. If we shift to the other dimensions, the political dimension, we can, let's make a short introduction for the others, the other panelists and members. Also, Albania is a parliamentary democracy that has a population of 2.8 million, which unfortunately keeps decreasing, let's say. And from 2009, we have been applying and are now in the agenda for the future enlargement of the European Union, together with the Republic of North Macedonia and other countries in the region. In terms of social entrepreneurship, the government in 2011 established a public institution which was state-owned, called Nxitja Biznesit Social, that means promoting social business, and their mission was to improve social protection policies of the government, accountability processes, and improving cooperation between the public and non-public sector. In theory, it seemed like a great example. However, from contact with different entrepreneurs and actors in the field, very few of them knew the existence of this institution. As per legal dimension, in Albania, in the last decade, there has been a real fight, let's say, among the civil society and the policy makers. There have been efforts to build a legal framework of the ecosystem in Albania. From 2010, the first draft legislation for social enterprises was made, and then in 2016, the parliament passed law number 65, the law for social enterprises, that somehow tries to regulate the organization and operation of social enterprises, and it determines the conditions and criteria that an entity must meet in order to receive the status of a social enterprise. However, this law recognizes that only the organizations that are in the not-for-profit sector can have a status and be a legal form of social entrepreneurship. And unfortunately, it excludes the other typologies that actually exist in here, that are associations, centers, foundations, legal persons, agricultural cooperatives, etc. In the consecutive years, in 2017, 2018, 2019, there were also produced some official decisions from the Council of Ministers, which try to further regulate the ecosystem, but still there are some challenges that social entrepreneurship enterprises are facing in this term, because these laws and decisions have actually not given a lot of effect in practice, and most of the existing social enterprises suffer from unfair competition. There was a nice example that was Flowers by Down Syndrome Albania, in which they continuously try to raise funds and to create their financial stability, but unfortunately their existence ended recently. Mostly these social entrepreneurship initiatives are sustained by foreign donors, which creates a dependency on them, and the sector still suffers this comprehensive legal framework and fiscal incentives, such as subsidized or tax exemptions, because still the not-for-profit sector pays the same amount as a normal business. If we go into the institutional dimension of social enterprise in Albania, the Albanian government considers social enterprises as an opportunity for social inclusion and employing individuals from the marginalized groups, rather than a means to boost the spirit of entrepreneurship and encourage social innovation. like even in the general perception of normal people, the population is this, you do social business, that means that you support like the disadvantaged ones. As per study published from exactly from Partners Albania, the concept of social enterprise at national level is still like almost inexistent. Social enterprises themselves, they lack support from institutions, and as of now, the concept is mostly used by the sector itself and some other actors that are included and are in continuous contact with them. However, there's still, for example, in some universities, or it's not included in the curricula yet, even though there have been some steps toward that. And recently, there are also some few institutions that empower social innovation and initiatives of social enterprises. Mostly are, let's say, focused, are help from foreign donors, but there are some enterprises and some initiatives that decide to do good despite if they have the status of a not-for-profit organization. Among these excuse me, these entities that support social entrepreneurship in Albania is Partners Albania for Change and Development, Social Business Balkans, United Nations Human, USAID, etc., that have been also part of the discussions with the policymaking institutions that in including also other entities, other forms of entities to be recognized as eligible social enterprises. As per the financial dimension, this is the most difficult one in the reality, in the Albanian reality, because they are not only social enterprises, but like startup community and ecosystem is settled, let's say, in a difficult background, but especially social enterprises struggle to survive like every day. Mostly they work and survive through projects and sub-grantee schemes that are mainly offered by foreign donators, or the economic activity that they try to generate within themselves. Some of them produce services, some of them offer products for the market that they sell, etc. As mentioned previously, one of the main concerns as per financial stability is that they have no fiscal facilities compared to a normal business, which leaves them with less chances to create this stability. They also mentioned that they face unfair competition, corruption, and administrative bureaucracies in terms of documentation, paperwork, etc. However, apart from the NPO sector, recently there are also some of the official institutions like Ministry of Culture, Ministry of Finance and Economy that have published public calls to support social entrepreneurship, to support like the ecosystem and the youth, especially within this, to raise within the sector. Also, the European Union, GIZ, the Swedish agencies, NGIM, have been continuously providing like capacity building trainings and also financial and in material support for these youngsters and for the ideas that they may have. We have, for example, we have also been like part of these schemes from NGIM, that one of their training courses was learn how to be an entrepreneur, or for example, the Partners Albania has their yearly call on green business competition, which I've seen that they try also to promote too much the businesses that have a special focus on the social aspect also. However, if we can reach into conclusions, we can definitely say that there's still too much work to be done in this sector in Albania, despite the success stories that there exist, and they can be, say, be used as inspiring examples for the whole ecosystem of social entrepreneurship in Albania. And one thing that keeps us positive, the sector, and lets us see a light at the end of the tunnel, is that the biggest foreign donors in the country, including the EU delegation itself and the other institutions, are are aware, let's say, of the role that social enterprises sector has in addressing inclusion and economic growth, and they keep keep supporting these initiatives, and they express their interest in developing this sector. From the discussion and the conversation with some experts of the area, also it can be said that like the government and the policymakers and the lawmakers took a little bit of a rash decision when they passed this law number 65, and they decided to exclude the companies out of the right to be able and hold the social enterprise status, which makes, let's say, the whole process and the situation of the sector more and more challenging. And as per our initiative, Solidarity Shop Berat, it is also, it will start in the city of Berat soon. At the moment, we are currently still online because, of course, because of financial stability also of us. But like as only yesterday, we took, let's say, a green light from one of the foreign donors that will help us start this initiative in the city of Berat, and it will basically be a gathering point, let's say, of the all local traditional representative products of Berat, but which come from groups that are like marginalized groups, members of marginalized groups, including here women coming from different difficult background, artisans of the city, social centers with which we are starting to collaborate, centers that work with people with special needs, and also the youth that come from difficult social and economical background. We are already trying to offer them some artisanal and pyrography courses so they can then start making their products and have their corner at our place. We'll keep you posted soon, of course, and you can show some, let's say, support and love as soon as we started. We are at the moment on Instagram currently.
Thank you, Irilda. Yeah, nowadays with what everything has happened over the past few years with COVID-19 and everything, and with the boom of e-commerce, of course, we all want to do more stuff online because it's cheaper that way, right?
Well, yes, but physical.
Yeah, of course.
Not dear place. We because that is a very touristic city, we want to also create their local product tasting center so that everyone can taste and then get something, a piece of bread and their way back home.
Yeah. Thanks. Thanks, Hilda. Okay, so now we are going to Serbia actually, and I will ask Snežana Andrić. She is the president of Mladi Ambasadori, Young Ambassadors. Snežana?
Hi. Hello.
Hilda, can you just... Okay.
Yeah, you hear me? Yes. Hello.
Yeah. Hi, Snežana.
Great. Hi. Hello, Stefan, and hello
How are you?
to everyone.
Are you good?
Yeah, I'm fine, perfect, and thank you very much for the invitation to present the situation in Serbia, and well done for the great conference. So I will just try to be as briefly as I can. So I would like to present you the situation in our country, in the Republic of Serbia. So I will start with a little bit of history, yeah, but really little. So the first lines of social entrepreneurship in Serbia can be found in the 19th century through the establishment of cooperatives. But today in the sector of social economy, there works also cooperatives, but also civil society associations, limited liability companies, and the registered social entrepreneurs. And it is mostly based on the production and the service providing, and entities are primarily achieving their social mission through the economic empowerment and the employment of vulnerable social groups, like in almost every country in our region. But we have some good news from Serbia. So after years of preparation and discussions on draft document, National Assembly of the Republic of Serbia adopted the law on social entrepreneurship, which entered into force on the 15th February this year. And with this law, we have regulated the concept, the objectives, the principles, the areas of activity of social entrepreneurs, and also the rights and obligations, reporting and other issues which are important for the social entrepreneurship in Serbia. And with this law, Serbia has defined the social economy as an economy whose primary goal is deriving benefits for the broader social community and social vulnerable groups, rather than making profit in order to create new and some innovative opportunities for solving social problems. And this law has defined clear conditions for acquiring the status of social entrepreneurship and the process of registration of social entrepreneurship status for some business entities. And this law will be applied upon the expiry of 9 months from the day of 15 February. And we, of course, we are going to see these first effects of implementation in coming years. So till now, we cannot say is it working or not. So before adopting this new law, social economy activities were legally framed through loan cooperatives, loan association, loan social protection, and other legal regulation strategic documents. And when we are thinking about the support for the social entrepreneurship sector, so unfortunately, public sector in Serbia have not capacity to understand the importance of social entrepreneurship, and usually it looks through the perspective of disemployment of vulnerable social groups. But there is one governmental body, Team for Social Inclusion and Poverty Reductions, which actually participates in promoting of entrepreneurial culture, developing various models of involving different groups in economic activities, and also on promoting the concept of social entrepreneurship and active inclusion in the labor market. So even now, the most important contribution to the development of social entrepreneurship in Serbia is based on the activities of non-governmental networks and civil society association, which provide support to different levels, from individual actors to governmental and strategic levels. And there are different opportunities for applying for grants and for financial support in Serbia. I will just mention some of them, not to waste so much time. So Smart Collective, you probably heard a lot about them. They launched the Fund for the Development of Sustainable Economy, and they had two parts, like Sustainable Ideas Program and Sustainable Business Program. Also, there is a program, Climb Scalar, which was founded by the Green for Growth Fund and Rockstar. As in all our Western Balkan countries, in Serbia, we also have Forum for Green Ideas. In Serbia, it's done by the Track Foundation on the annual base. And there are also several programs of the European Union. There is program for local development, EU Pro Plus, and also in all other countries, Social Impact Award is also working a lot in our country. So when we are speaking about the expectations for the adoption of this new law, there were some key challenges for the development of the sector, and they're defined like this in the adequate legal form, and also that there is not enough investment in human capital. There are difficulties to find access to the funding resources. There are difficulties in tax treatment, but also lack of statistical monitoring, and this is everything that should be done in the next period. And maybe for the end, I would like to present you some key recommendations for the development of the sector. And these are like integration of strategic goals in all national, regional, local policy documents, in all action plans, and also adaptation of financial support measures for social entrepreneurship and for social economy, and also development of the market support measures for products and services, development of the social enterprises register. Another recommendation is increasing the capacity of public sector for understanding the social entrepreneurship. And the last but definitely not the least, is development of formal and non-formal education curriculums for young people, which are in the educational system, but also models of dual education in social enterprise. So I think that I try to explain it shortly and briefly, and that you could understand what is the situation in Serbia looks like.
Thank you, Snezana. I think that all of us wanted to hear the experience from the new law on social enterprises, entrepreneurship. It's the topic in the Western Balkans over the past few months, right? How did you do it? Is it good? Does the civil society accept it? The social enterprises, are they think it's worth it, and something like this? So this situation was echoing around in the sector, in the region. Thank you for that. Of course, Snežana is also the moderator of one of the group discussions for challenges, so you will see and hear her afterwards as well. Thank you, Snežana. And now
Thank you very much.
I will be going to Selatin Sirici. He is the trainer at the Turkish National Agency. So he just came on time in between the Western Balkan countries to share experience with the social entrepreneurship ecosystem in Turkey, and his opinions as well.
Yeah.
So,
thanks, Minister. But before starting, I would like to share that I'm really jealous because Susanna shared that they have the law in Serbia. Unfortunately, we don't have yet in Turkey. That's why I'm really jealous, and I really would like to dig into what you have in your law, because we will need in our country. So if you let me, I guess I can share my screen. I will try to keep it short. What we do in Turkish reality about the social entrepreneurship is quite, I can say, the 15 years past to talk about the social enterprises and social entrepreneurs, and still need time to talk about that and discuss about that and research about that, then you will understand why I'm talking like that. So I guess now it's visible for everybody, Stefan, right?
yeah, it is.
Perfect. So just hold on a second, I will see my screen. Yes, so I would like to start with the definition. I would like to remind to all of us. So social entrepreneurship aim to solve social problems by developing a service, product, or model. And social enterprises can generate income and profits to achieve their social goals. So I guess it is all clear for all of us, but unfortunately, there's no consensus on the definition in Turkey, because the three major sectors, which are the public, private, and civil society, they understand and they look from the different perspectives. Like the private sectors think that social entrepreneurship is a social responsibility projects, and the civil society sector thinks that these are the voluntary activities, and they cannot talk about the money. So they cannot earn the money. So they need to somehow find the money for their economic development or their facilities. And the public sector didn't get the point of what is the social entrepreneurship as well. So as you see, it's not easy to find a common definition in the country yet. I can say that. Just hold on a second. How I will. Yeah, perfect. So, as I said, I was jealous about Serbia. So we were actually checking their law last week. So in Turkey, unfortunately, there's no legal status for social enterprise in the laws of the Republic of Turkey. But on the other hand, we have the quite 9,000 social enterprises we have. So how it happens? So we don't have a legal regulation. So social enterprise in Turkey, they are the foundation and association, they have their own enterprises under that, the helping their law, special law, the social cooperatives. So these are the quite famous in Turkey. Most of them are the women cooperatives. So companies aiming to create a social impact and also new generation companies established directly as social enterprises. So they call themselves if I created a company, private company, so they can say that we have one of our aim is the social impact. So we call ourselves as a social enterprise, but unfortunately there is no law about that. But there's the also positive thing, because it's till end of the 2023, there is our 11th development plan of the Turkish Republic. So it's written that regulations will be made regarding social entrepreneurship. Capacity will be increased according to analyzed results in proportion to the contribution of good practice to society. The last sentence is important for us. The amount of support will be increased gradually. So it means that the financial support will come from the government parts. So we can understand that. Unfortunately, next year in the June, we will have the national election. That's why everybody focus on that. So I don't think it will be well supported at the end of the 2023. So as I said, we have the 9,000 social enterprises in Turkey nowadays. So who are these people, or which are these institutional companies? So as you see, 28% cooperatives, 18% are limited liability companies. So 13% are the joint stock companies. And as you see, the most of them, a significant number of the startups, as they establish their social enterprises under the association structure. So this is the point we can understand the Turkish reality. And in Turkey, if you interest a social entrepreneur for being a social entrepreneur, so your roots are the focus on the voluntary activities. So somehow in your life, in one day or maybe the period, so you work on the non-government organizations, then you can understand the social problems and to decide to have the social enterprise. So I will move then. So unfortunately, the researching part, the academic part, which is also I'm included. So limited, as you see, research we have. Unfortunately, just 41 theses, just focus on the social entrepreneurship. So as you can understand, 86 million people living in Turkey, and 41 theses on social entrepreneurship is quite limited and small amounts. So it's also the opportunity for all of us if you work on the academic level. So there's so many topics which we can also the research on that. So this is the one of the research book of the British Council, which organized, which held in Turkey about the social entrepreneurship ecosystem in Turkey. As you can understand, 9,000 social enterprises located mostly in the three major and the biggest cities in Turkey, which are the Istanbul, the capital Ankara, and the Izmir from the western part of the country. So these are the high educated people, and the most of the universities are located. That's why you can understand why the social enterprise in there. Also like the Ankara and Istanbul, the NGOs, the headquarters of the NGOs are in Istanbul and Ankara. So you can understand that the NGOs work on this field as well, like the link to the voluntary activities. That's why the social enterprises are mostly located in there. So the good thing is the 55% of the social enterprise leaders are the women. That's really lovely to hear and to see that. And quite half of them are the young people. So I would like to share the population of the Turkish reality. More than 50 million young people between 15 and 24 years old we have. So their interest of the social enterprises and social problems are high amounts. So I can say that. So that's what we will see in the next slides. So unfortunately in the between this information, I would like to mention that the field of social enterprise in Turkey is not well understood in terms of its economic and social impact. So as before starting, as I mentioned, that the private sector and the public sector thinks that these are like the social responsibility projects. So they don't understand mostly the economic and social impact easily. So that's why we need more activities, more events, more competitions, and more supports for the future social enterprises. So you will see that how it's increased, especially last 10 years, we can say that quite huge amount and the interest of the social enterprise in our country, in Turkey. So you will see the age range of the people. So these are the Y generation and the Z generation work with together, I can say. And current station, maybe we need to mention that because there's nowadays we have the more than 10 social entrepreneurship centers in Turkey from all around to Turkey. So they establish under the municipalities or the universities. So the biggest obstacle of the social entrepreneurship is the lack of recognition and awareness. Maybe we should put first the awareness because they don't know what is social entrepreneurship. They have the wrong idea about like the mixing the social response and social entrepreneurship. That's why recognition is the most important part. But as far as I believe that the legal regulations will be help to recognition and awareness part so quickly. So lastly, I need to mention again, social entrepreneurship has gained a great momentum in recent years, especially with the increasing the interest of the young people in Turkey. So young people are our most powerful parts for the understand and to teach and to create awareness and to recognition in all around the country. So that's why we work with Ashoka. The worldwide, the foundation works on the social entrepreneurship. So Ashoka is quite famous in Turkey as well since 2004. And also the embassies, mostly United States Embassy, works on highly support the projects on social entrepreneurship by the young people. And also UNICEF work with immigration and the social entrepreneurship projects together. So we organize some of the competitions and the events and training courses. The East part of Turkey with the migration societies, migrant young people on the social entrepreneurship. And also we have the 7 region and quite more than 20 development agencies. And these agencies are started to work on the creative industries and the social enterprise and the social economy. So it's as you see, we try to create ecosystem with the universities, associations, and international and national institutions and the NGOs. And in the end, the young people are the most powerful part of our ecosystem. So I will start my presentation in here. I guess I will have some minutes, Stefan. So this, how much minute I don't have, but I would like to share some little things with you. Just hold on a second. How much time do I have, Stefan?
You have like 3 minutes more.
3 minutes. Okay, perfect. So first of all, I would like to share the one map, a Turkish social innovation map since 2018. So it shows that what we have in our national ecosystem, as you see, the Impact Hub Istanbul, Ashoka Turkey, some NGOs, UNDP, and the municipalities, the university offices, and also the foundations, the private banks, private companies. So these are all who are interested about the social enterprises. So in the end, I would like to share one of the best examples and one of the pioneer social enterprise, and it will just take the 3 minutes. I would like to share the Tara Hopkins, who is the one of the first female social entrepreneur in Turkey, and she is the founder of the Garbage Women social enterprise. So now I will share with you. Then I will end.
Çöpten çanta olur mu? Kadınlar yaparsa olur. Hem de çok güzel tasarım ürünü, modanın parçası çantalar olur. Çöpe gidecek ambalajlar, çorba paketleri, çay kutuları, ayvalıklı kadınların parmaklarının ucunda hayat bulur. Hepsinin adı çöp madamı. Sabancı Vakfı Fark Yaratanlar Programı olarak 2009 yılının sonbaharında Ayvalık'ta Çöp Madamı merkezini ziyaret ettiğimizde Tara Hopkins, kadınlar için kurduğu bu sosyal girişimcilik modelini heyecanla anlatıyordu. Tara Hopkins'in Sabancı Vakfı Fark Yaratanlar Programı'na konuk olmasının üzerinden yaklaşık 3 yıl geçti. Bu zaman diliminde Ayvalıklı kadınlar çalıştılar, ürettiler ve başardılar. Kadınların elleriyle nakış dokur gibi ürettikleri çantalara zaman içinde önlükler, tasarım ürünleri eklendi. Ünleri de Türkiye'yi aştı. Çöp madam çantaları Hollanda, Amerika, İspanya ve Almanya'da satılmaya başladı. Bugüne kadar 600 kadına ulaşan ve halen 50 kadının da düzenli olarak çalıştığı çöp madam girişimi Moldova'ya da model oldu. Bir sivil toplum projesi kapsamında engelli çocukların ve annelerinin çanta yapabilmesi için çöp madam ekibi Moldova'ya eğitim vermeye davet edildi.
İnsanlar bizi soruyor, siz başarılı nokta geliyorsunuz, nasıl anlıyorsunuz? Kadınlara özgüven artıyor. Onlar için bir cetvel yok. Yani nasıl, ne kadar arttı, ne kadar daha iyi, kendin hakkında ne kadar daha iyi hissediyor. Göstermek için gerçekten çok zor. Fakat mesela şimdi düşünüyorum, diyelim 60 kadından hemen çok rahat 5 kadına aklıma geliyor. Onu eskiden biraz daha çekingendir. Şimdi daha çok ayaküstü duruyor.
Geçtiğimiz yıl Birleşmiş Milletler tarafından Türkiye'nin en iyi sosyal girişimcilik projesi seçilen Çöp Madam'da bugüne kadar 8.000'li çanta olmak üzere yaklaşık 10.000 ürün satıldı.
Okay, I will stop in here. So as you see, the garbage ladies are the first and the pioneer social enterprise in Turkey, powered by the women. So it really helped us to create awareness in the Turkey. So as you see, the young people and the good examples from all around Turkey, and also the recognition and the legal part is, it will be really important for the future months. So thanks million for hosting, Stefan, and I was really happy to be here with you.
Thank you, Sela. What you shared is like huge example and excellent example how social enterprises and entrepreneurs can change people's lives. But also there are some surprising facts that in Turkey there's only 41 theses and research about social entrepreneurship, which also states that social entrepreneurship is just starting and it's a still nascent field and it's something for the future. Mm-hmm. So the potential and the perspective is enormous. But we'll talk about it more in the group discussions and afterwards in the Q&A sessions and the conclusions. Mm-hmm. But now I would like to invite Anto Jankovic, the president of the Center for Economic Prosperity and Freedom from Montenegro. So Anto, thank you for being here, and please, the floor is yours.
Thank you for inviting me, because it's always a pleasure to speak about this topic. I want to thank a colleague from Turkey for this example, because you have a report on Montenegro and other Western Balkan countries, which is great that we share, especially now when knowing that Serbia got this first law on social entrepreneurship. This experience will be very useful for us. So I speak more generally about the situation in Montenegro, because you have there things, but the point is that situation is almost the same in all our countries. I will start with political dimension, because I think everything comes to politics. In 2012, there was a draft law on social entrepreneurship in Montenegro, which was abounded very soon. But before that, sorry, let me start because there are people who are not familiar with Montenegro. So we have started after gaining independence after split of former Yugoslavia. We have started negotiation process with EU in 2007. So first, this agreement was made in 2007, and in 2012 we have started negotiation process with EU, and we have opened all the chapters. In 2017, we became a NATO member country. And in 2020, after August 2020, in 2020, so almost 2 years ago, after change on the election, with the force and support from Russia, Serbia, and Serbian Orthodox Church, a new government has been established. And after COVID-19 situation that all our countries and the whole world was impacted, now Montenegro, which was leading country from the region towards in the EU integration process, we went back, I think, for at least 5 years. And this is something, so now a new government has been established a week ago, and now they have to restore all the problems that was made by the previous government during this year and 5 months of their rule. So the point is that what I very often say about social entrepreneurship and social economy in general is that when you come to Montenegro, if you rely on foreign investments, you can all foreign investors will come to open a bank in Montenegro or open a hotel on the coast. I think it's similar in our country, and nobody will care about local development, about social development, about disadvantaged groups, about community development, and many, many things that all our countries are facing. And Montenegro, probably as all of your countries, have a lot of strategies in the last 20 years related to regional development, related to socio-economic development, and many, many things. But the point is that all these strategies are not implemented in a good way. That's why we are lacking towards EU. On the other side, what's happening, again, related to politics, we all knew what was happening since 2016 globally, and now we see also in Ukraine. This is the problem why I am always pushing for my country, but also this is the situation. I think that also people in Brussels and EU are understanding now that all these differences in our societies that are not solved are making, at the end, political problems that our societies are going back. So let me come back now to this situation related to social entrepreneurship in the country. As I said, in 2012, there was a draft law. I was against that law. I was speaking also with many of my friends in Serbia who have been in this group for drafting the law in Serbia. Is it good to have a law? Because laws very often can become a very big obstacle for the sector. And finally, as I know, but I just downloaded Serbian law, so I will check it. And what I knew before is that they succeeded to make it pretty open, that without obstacles. So I will see it. When I read it, I will give my judgment. But the point is, what I want to stress is that when I spoke with people from Montenegrin institutions, like Ministry of Economy, about the situation and support for social enterprises, all of them told me without recognition, you cannot expect support from the state. And this is what we all see as very important, is this kind of recognition, but on the other side, not to have obstacles for the sector. Understanding of the sector is the same, I think, like in many countries in the region. So people, nor people in institutions or in the government, do not understand the concept. I have published a book on social entrepreneurship in 2017. And when I sent this book to former Prime Minister of Montenegro, I got through a friend who was working in his cabinet, I got a comment, why are you crazy to deal with science, you know? And the point with this research that I made is that if we come to European level of number of employees in social economy sector, it's like 15,000 new jobs in a small country like Montenegro, which has only 600,000 people, you know. So impact is great, but people, even in the institutions, do not understand the situation. Related to legal dimension, let's say, as I said, there is no law. Social enterprises are working under 4 forms of legal forms. Mostly are working as NGOs. The problem with NGO law that Montenegro has, I think also Serbia, but I'm not sure about the other countries, that NGOs can make economic activities up to 4,000 euros a year or 20% of previous year annual budget, which is a big obstacle for NGOs. On the other side, there are cooperatives. Also, we have a pretty bad law on cooperatives, so we have only agricultural cooperatives. And through research that we made, there were only 2 cooperatives that I think do not exist anymore, maybe on the paper. Then this work integration social enterprises to this law for professional rehabilitation of people with disabilities. And finally, these mainstream companies that are working as limited liability companies. The situation in the sector was becoming before COVID-19 crisis better because more and more limited liabilities companies have been established, mostly by NGOs. But the good thing is that then you are moving and creating separate management for the social enterprises. There is also no strategy on social entrepreneurship in Montenegro, but the good thing is that we succeeded to put social entrepreneurship, youth entrepreneurship, and women entrepreneurship as 3.5 priority of strategy for micro, small, and medium enterprises 2018-2022. And this is the only strategy that provides some measures and concrete actions for support of the sector, meaning general entrepreneurship of social entrepreneurship, youth, and women entrepreneurship. The other 2 are strategy for support of NGOs and strategy for human resource development, but they only just mention social entrepreneurship. So mostly when we are speaking about regulative framework, we are focused on this micro and medium strategy for development of micro and medium small enterprises, which is pretty good. The point is, as I think in many of our countries, is that the government, or we don't have separate strategy on social entrepreneurship and social enterprises. So there is not clear understanding what we can get and what are the benefits on the other side. I am dealing also with the research for social entrepreneurship as national researcher from Montenegro since 2012. And I know that Brussels and the EU is pushing towards the government for using IPA funds for developing different kind of programs for support of social entrepreneurship in Montenegro, but also in all other countries. But this is the point what I say, that misunderstanding of people in the government or what we have. And what I used to say is that we are living from one elections to the other elections, because I think you all face that at some point after some elections, you have a good minister which is open to start discussion, which accepts to make some strategy. Let's work on the strategy and to define the sector. Then there is some change in the government, some new person comes or some new party, and then we are back for 4 or 8 years back. So this is the situation that we are all in the last 10 years going back and forth, back and forth. Related to institutional dimension, I have to stress that there is, according to some researches, around 100 social enterprises. I'm not sure what's their situation now after COVID-19 crisis, because it was not only crisis related to market support, but crisis I think we all faced related to funding support, because as you know, in 2020, even EU funds were mostly not available. And this was something that pushed the sector back, but I think most of them still survive, as all the other small and micro enterprises in the country. I will not go into detail related to their capacity, because you have them in the report. They are mostly small. Financial support is very limited from all sides. So related to local administration support, related to government support. So there are no specific programs. Even the problem is that even support from EU is limited, but not because of Brussels and EU administration, but because of the people in the government who are not using EU funds and IPA funds for developing these kind of programs. I was invited by EU delegation in negotiations in 2019 to negotiate with the government and try to make them understand why social entrepreneurship and social enterprises are important. And what I know as information, or what I expect, is maybe in 2022 or next year, we will have first call from EU IPA funds that goes through our government, call for support of social entrepreneurship in the country. So finally, I will provide some conclusion. First conclusion, I think, for all of us should be to network more and more, because we have many reports. It's good to track progress as we did here, you know, but networking both at national, regional, and European level is important in order to solve all these problems and provide funds, because as I know, people from Brussels or EU administration is understanding that even EU doesn't have a future if we are not solving social problems that nor business nor the governments can solve. I will use just 2 minutes, at least try to use 2 minutes. I was just to share a story. I was on a social economy forum in 2018 in Bilbao, and there was a mayor of Seoul who sat on one of the panels because this social economy forum, global social economy forum, was established by Koreans. And he said, you know, we are fully market economy country. But as a mayor of Seoul, we understood that most of the problems, some of the problems, nor public administration nor business sector cannot solve. That's why we decided to focus as a fully market economy, to focus on development of social economy. This is something what I always try to share with, I know that all of you understand, but I try always to share this story with people in the administration, because if we are not solving this problem, we will again come to politics and many, many problems that we very often face. So conclusion is, we definitely need financial support, and also what we need as to network also for all of our organization is that we also need larger regional grants, regional institutional grants, so we can share experiences more often, we can cooperate and share ideas more often, and we can start lobbying not only on national level but on regional level, and use these experiences. Now when we have a law on social entrepreneurship in Serbia, now it could be very much easier for our other countries in the region to share their experience and put pressure on the government and lobby to adopt a regulation in all of our countries. So networking also is very important, related to, for example, the story of Turkey, of these ladies, that there are many social enterprises who are dealing with women victims of violence who are in this sector in Montenegro, but they don't have capacity. And Turkey is a big, great country, but we are very small countries in the region. And I always discussing with my colleagues and friends from the region how we can support even social enterprises to cooperate with each other.
Anton,
yeah,
I'm sorry. We can discuss all this about the countries and the difference and challenges in that session, because we're already 10 minutes after our timeline. We need to keep it short. I'm sorry. We don't want to bring a discussion right now because we have a lot more experiences to hear.
Okay.
Thank you for sharing. I'm sorry to hear that some things in Montenegro in terms of social entrepreneurship has been going backwards instead of forward, but I think that you will bridge this gap fast, hopefully. But now I will introduce Lili Oti. She is a researcher and General Secretary of British School of Kosovo. She'll now present the country profile of the case of Kosovo. Lady?
Stefan, hi everyone. It's such a pleasure for being part of this conference today. I'm Lidia Hote and I'm the General Secretary at the British School of Kosovo. Also, I am the co-founder and the project manager of EduGrua, a project financed by the Swedish Institute and Lund University. Before starting to introduce and represent my country's profile, I just want to congratulate my colleague Nancy for this conference. It's such a fruitful and healthy conference on bringing all these problems that we, the Western Balkan countries, are facing on the topic of the entrepreneurship ecosystem. As well, it's a good opportunity for us to be knowing all the challenges that we are facing and also sharing the problems of each country and learning from the solutions. Okay, talking about Kosovo's current state of affairs of the ecosystem and entrepreneurship, firstly, I want just to mention that we still are called a newborn country, a country in transition, in which we are trying to adopt new laws, especially in this field. Before I continue on telling and mentioning the challenges that we are facing in this field, I just want to say that Kosovo's entrepreneur ecosystem is still in an early stage of its development. And although here the talents exist, new ideas exist, it's also a lack of countries and governments support in which they are working continuously. There are also entrepreneurial activity in Kosovo is mainly concentrated in small businesses and also familiar businesses, which are, in this case, they are supported by the government as the local governance area, approved by the Ministry of Finances in Kosovo, and that's a good thing in the entrepreneurship field, because it helps like small businesses, those family businesses to develop and also create some new job opportunities for other local people there, and also it helps a bit the growth of the financial system here in Kosovo. Now I want to represent to you like the main problems and the main challenges that Kosovo's entrepreneurship ecosystem is facing nowadays. Okay, one of the main problems here that has to do with the legal dimension is the corruption part. We are known as a country with a high percentage or level of corruption, which we are continuously trying to fight with all the institutions and all the laws that we have approved right now. So we are trying to fight corruption, but it is still an element that affects in a negative way of the entrepreneurship ecosystem, because knowing that foreign investors want to have like to know that there are laws in a country where they want to invest, and it doesn't manage good to have like problems with the corruption or this high level of corruption in a country where you want to invest. Maybe this is another key problem why we don't have much or a lot of job opportunities here and this high number of unemployed people. Another problem that we are facing right now is problems of high percentage of unemployed people, which is based on a research that was posted to the Trading Economics. It is a percentage of 25.8% of unemployed people based on the research that are made in the last years. Another problem here in Kosovo is the problem with the visa liberalization. So facing this problem, it doesn't give the youth the opportunity to create new experiences and share new experiences with their peers from the other countries, having the opportunities to get an internship from another country in Europe or somewhere in a country around the world, which they can get that experience and bring to our country, maybe get a business idea, bring here, create opportunity. Another problem that we are, or challenge that we are facing is also the infrastructure gap and also female participation. It has to do with the gender equality problem and also topic, which we are trying to give a solution to it, trying to create more job opportunities for female, just to avoid this gender inequality in Kosovo and also to lower this high percentage of unemployed female or women in Kosovo. Now, just let me bring a brief, general presentation to country profiles Kosovo in the entrepreneurship ecosystem. So we know that Kosovo is a country in transition and yet called a new country. Also, we are called a newborn country. Its ecosystem has also made a bigger evolution if we compare the post-war Kosovo and also the post-independence Kosovo. Since then, we have created labs which support startups and new business ideas. And also we have gained some funds who support these small business ideas. We are also well known in the field of sports. So here we can call ourselves like the country of golden medals, since we know the successes that our representatives have made around the world. Today we are going to talk about political dimension, legal dimension, and financial dimension of Kosovo in this field. So talking about the political dimension, we can just mention that Kosovo is a country of a population over 2 million people living here, and it has declared its independence in 2008. Since then, Kosovo has made a development in the political area by making it laws and its independent and democratic legal system. Kosovo is a country which is led by a woman as the second woman president in Kosovo during these years since it has declared its independence. In the aspect of entrepreneurship ecosystem, the position that Kosovo has right now does not contribute the development of this area, as I mentioned, the visa liberalization problem. Facing this problem, it is very difficult for our youth to get new experiences, expand their network, and also get new knowledge from traveling and working on other countries and getting from their experience and bringing those ideas on developing our ecosystem or entrepreneurship ecosystem. Now talking about the legal dimension, Kosovo has got an independent justice system, including a written constitution and other laws, which are in order to help all the legal system and also to help all the processes that happen in our country. In this field, I consider that Kosovo has to continue on implementing laws and trying hard with all the state mechanisms to fight corruption. As I stated above, one of the main problems that Kosovo is facing right now and also was facing all the previous years is corruption. Since this one is a very important element, as I said, on business and entrepreneurship system development. For example, foreign investors aim to invest in countries in which there is established a safe legal system and a safe environment to invest. Otherwise, there are some good steps taken towards our topic. Since mediation and arbitration processes are included in our legal system, it makes it easier and maybe safer for all the foreign investors to come and bring their branch of business here, since these both mediation processes as mediation and arbitration are included to our legal system, which makes it easier to solve like the contest they may face in the future. Anyway, still there are lots of problems Kosovo is facing talking to the legal system.
Liri, sorry, can you conclude, because it's already over 10 minutes.
Okay, of course. Also, to the financial dimension, I just want to mention the private sector, which is the main factor which has helped on the development of the entrepreneurship ecosystem in Kosovo by giving job opportunities to youth, especially to female part, to women. For example, the institution that I'm working has around 170 employed people, in which most of the people here, employed people, are women. And as a conclusion, in Kosovo, we can say that it has firstly to work in the legal system on fighting corruption, and also on giving some frameworks and giving funds to help and support new ideas, to support startups, and also to improve the creating of the small businesses here in Kosovo and creating new job opportunities for youth and all the population here.
Thank you, Liri. Thank you for the overview of the ecosystem for social entrepreneurship in Kosovo. And now we'll go to Admir Salihagic. He is a researcher and a coordinator at the Birch Startup Incubator in Bosnia and Herzegovina. Admir, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Stefan. Hello, everyone. Very nice to see you, and hopefully we stay connected. And well, Bosnia is last in order to present today, and I am sad to say that it is well behind many regional countries in terms of development of entrepreneurial ecosystem as well. Unfortunately, even though the trend is positive, there is a slow, frustratingly slow progress, and most of this progress is spearheaded by civil society. Actually, so there is a considerable progress when it comes to education, development of entrepreneurial mindset among youth, and there is some progress also on government level, but maybe insufficient and very often misplaced. On the other hand, there is really low presence of entrepreneurial learning in formal education. So it's really difficult to expect, new startups and new ventures if nobody is working with young people to direct them in that way. And also the government support is very often inadequately formulated. So for example, just to give an example, if a municipality has a program to support entrepreneurs, the result of the program is a few new bakeries or car wash shops opened up. So we don't speak about any type of innovative entrepreneurship, and not to mention social entrepreneurship, which is not recognized as a separate category or separate way of organizing a legal entity at all. So to be more specific when it comes to political dimension, we can say that Bosnia is the country in the region which has the most complicated administrative system, with state level, 2 entities, 1 district, and 10 cantons. And each of these, they have their separate prime ministers and ministries, and you can literally drive for 10 kilometers and go through 3 separate jurisdictions, not knowing who's in charge of what, etc. That additionally sets administrative burdens on companies and on functioning of private sector, but it also makes it difficult to start any sustainable business venture because market is largely fractured. Bosnia, as a small country, is a small market already for itself, and now when you have to fraction it in Additionally, it's really difficult to sell anything actually for a fresh startup. That also creates some kind of negative atmosphere among young people, and usually 1 out of 2 young people, they have a vision of leaving the country, and the data indicates that the profile of people living in the country are exactly the young people who has some kind of entrepreneurial capacity to start a business venture. While political environment is highly unfavorable, also because of the political tensions among national ethnical lines, its economical situation is unfavorable, and this is especially when it comes to social entrepreneurship, which does not exist as a separate category at all. So when it comes to legal dimension of the thing, most of the enterprises which identify themselves as social enterprises, because there is no institution to tell you that are you or are you not a social enterprise, you have to self-declare. They are either registered as LLCs or crafts or as associations of the citizens, which to the great extent limits the scope of their activities, and there is no evidence in any of the relevant strategic documents that there is a plan to cover some progress in this sense. So unlike many neighboring countries, there is no even talk about including social entrepreneurship in any of the fields of strategic development, unfortunately. Institutionally, when it comes to startups in general, there is progress in support, but as mentioned earlier, usually they are misplaced because people who are in charge of these programs, they do not really understand what a startup is, and especially not a social business. When it comes to the parts of ecosystem unrelated to administration and government, the only progress seen is actually there. Especially in financial dimension, we see that there is a huge effort of civil sector, but also international organizations in particular, to team up with some of the local commercial banks and implement some financial instruments which would help startups and especially social enterprises to start and set up their businesses, but of course, unfortunately, these also require them to register and survive for a year before being eligible for these funds, which is really difficult. So to conclude, the efforts of civil society, private sector, and private philanthropists, they are sustaining the advancement of social enterprise in Bosnia, and there is a progress, but without recognition of social enterprise as a separate category within legislation, without more adequate institutional support mechanism, without changing regulations related to legal procedures and taxation, without more adequate support mechanism, unfortunately, we can hardly expect to hear many success stories when it comes to social entrepreneurship. They just cannot survive the first round of the grant or the project that they were established within. So that's in short and in summary the situation in Bosnia and Herzegovina.
Thank you, Admir. Thank you for that overview of the social entrepreneurship ecosystem in Bosnia and Herzegovina. Yeah, it's tough for social enterprises when they have these requirements to survive a year, to have this amount of percentage of the sales in the company and so on and so forth. So yeah, it's kind of a bit of a gray area. Okay, guys, thank you so much for all of you, all the speakers in this session. And now we have the overview of the Western Balkan countries related to social entrepreneurship ecosystem, and from Turkey as well. And now we'll go for a really short break. 5 minutes just to grab coffee. So we'll be back at 12:25 and continue with 2 case studies or 2 experiences from social enterprises and social entrepreneurs. So guys, be back in 5, 12:25, we are back. Thanks. Okay, we're back, guys. Thanks for sticking around. I hope you got your coffee. Now we have two social enterprises, two social entrepreneurs, two practitioners in the social entrepreneurship field. They will tell us what's their story and what's the story of their social enterprises and how they navigate the ecosystem. So first we have Dejan Stanovic. He is the director of the Association of Citizens for Social and Economic Development in Vivo Skopje. They're an incredible social enterprise that work with vulnerable populations. They had a lot of success in the few years, and they have done something that well, many have tried, but only small amount of social enterprises have succeeded, if any, I might add. But without further ado, Dan, I'm glad to be here. Thank you for having the time to be here at this conference. Please, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much for the opportunity to be today here. Incredible speakers, incredible stories, and thank you very much for this kind of announcement what work they are doing. I'll try to fit into provided timings. So yeah, as you know, I'm telling our stories through the pictures, and I'll divide my presentation in two parts: who we are, and what we have done so far, and what we're planning for future, which is in the same time invitation for all the participants if they find some interest to join, to discuss, let's do something on a regional level. So in Vivo is how to say, we are a relatively young organization. We are existing for 4 years, but just in few weeks ago we became first organization which was awarded with the status of public benefit organization, which make us fourth organization in our country, but de facto first organization which is dedicated in spreading social entrepreneurship. So this is also one of the things that can be discussed further, and I'm ready to share with all of you our experiences in that regard. Among our main goals is development of few models of social entrepreneurship, and this is what I'll try to explain in this presentation. Our economic activities started back in 2029 with establishing first production for a facility for biohumus. I mean, this story for biohumus for me is great example of one product which is actually uniting informal education, reintegration of people in need, promotion of rural areas, support of people which are living and working in rural areas, promotion of potentials for alternative tourism, many aspects, which we can find just in one product. After 3 years, now currently we have 24 warm beds. We have a capacity for production of approximately 10,000 kilos of this product, and I believe that this initiative by the end of this year will be fully sustainable. What is probably very important to say is that we have product with a great quality. Even organizations which I'm seeing, usually they say, we are supporting vulnerables and whatever, if you buy this, no. We are selling product which is with a great quality, and as added value, we are saying that actually all profit which is coming from this product is actually dedicated to these vulnerables. Last year, we actually introduced, our own brand, so-called Green Vivo, which is extension, of name of our activity and whatever. And now it's much more easy to make it marketable, offering into these flower shops, big supermarkets and whatever. Actually ending last year, we sold first bigger quantity, about 2 tons of biohumus to local organization of Red Cross, which actually makes, if you see the small picture on the left corner, this is picture from the autumn 2019, which means that here in Macedonia took, with a great amount of efforts, it took 2 years, from idea, from the very first step towards social entrepreneurship until the first sales. So, you might need some patience, if you want to dedicate your activities in applied entrepreneurship. As of last year, we were lucky to be awarded by Erasmus Plus project with money which we are applying this Hope project. Of course, the one very big portion of this project is dedicated to social entrepreneurship. And with this project, actually, we aimed to start working this stone garden fountains. And probably, most of you might say, but in certain, now you're working on a biohumus, but now with the garden fountains, there is very solid product reasoning. There is very solid product reasoning for this. First of all, I mean, not all persons which are marginalized, which are vulnerable, don't want to deal with the cow manure and the worms. I'm referring to this biohumus production. This is one thing, and the second thing, I'm really amazed, with how many these people which are belonging to vulnerable categories, how much artistic talents they have. So we really tried to align their talents, for potential for professional reintegration. I would here also say that probably, and this is the topics when we invited Stefan to be one of the speakers on it, to talk about product diversification. I mean, in those stormy times, probably it's good to have 2, 3, 5 products which you can lean on, because you never know, what will bring some extra profit in order to maintain our activities. So yeah, as a result, so far with this group of homeless from Skopje, we also have these products which seems that have further potential. What I'm really proud on, and what I believe that makes our organization different is what we are calling this 360 reintegration approach. And I just want to share this one example of Sasha Spasovsky. When we met, I mean, he was something like 5-6 years homeless. So we started with with very basic things like buying glasses and rehabilitation of some hygienic habits and whatever. It's nice to work with Sasha because he understands the balance between human rights but also obligations, and he agreed to be active supporter of our biohumus production. I don't know, maybe 7 and 8 months ago, we completely, improved his teeth, by the end of, or actually beginning this year. I mean, he owed some money to local telecom, it was something like 1,200 euros, so when these people saw how much how much efforts he is putting in this reintegration, they decided just to delete this debt for Sasha. So Sasha is now, really employable, and nobody will stop taking money from him. Whenever we have chance, he's going and he's continuing his informal education. Whenever applicable, we are inviting him to share his own story and own experiences, because we need local successful examples of reintegration. Each of us heard that, somewhere in Latin America there was a homeless and he became a billionaire. I mean, after the 30 years of independence, I believe that we should provide local successful examples, and Sasha is one of them. Here you can see him as a promoter of our biohumus on some of the fairs, and frequently he is you know, taking this role. And you know, lately he is really becoming one of our PRs, you know, because he is the one who is spreading our story. So actually, this is who we are and what we are doing. I will use this great chance actually to share what is in our focus for this in the next year. With decision of the government on the border crossing Kafasan, I believe that colleagues from Albania know this location. Probably frequently they are traveling to Macedonia. We got 3 objects. These are former military facilities with something like 500 square meters usable area. If you see, it's quite unique location, which makes it like a Balkans checkpoint Charlie, you know. But I believe that this can be contribution toward understanding the borders as spots for meeting, not for the spots when we are separating from each other. Yeah, this is, you know, from the cadastre, you know, confirming these 500 square meters. Here is the main building, and you know, the guys who are ordered, who used to be in army, they know, you know, it offers a possibility for pretty much autonomic being there. So we have bedrooms, toilets, offices, but also kitchen, dining room, classroom, which is very important for us. We have space for a big terrace. Actually, this is the main road. You see how close we are to the main road. This is the second object, 600 square meters. And what me personally, what amazed me is actually how big frequency on annual basis is on this border crossing, you know, not counting 2020, which was heavily influenced by Corona. You know, we are talking currently about 1.5 million, which are passing, you know, on this border crossing, and this will be probably increased with this Open Balkans initiative, with the Corridor 8, which will be soon finished, hopefully. So yeah, we are talking about great potential coming from this frequency. So our current idea, which we are prepared to modify with potential partner ideas, is to align it with the needs of a local society, and to introduce their shared shelter for the member of vulnerable categories, where they can work, live, and learn, of course. You know, currently we have idea to open a small cafeteria, which will provide coffee to go, you know, just to assure this financial sustainability. And I also see a great potential for further increasing and aligning our activities toward promotion of incoming and outgoing tourism. So yeah, it will be great if we have chance to continue this discussion, this potential. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dan. This story touches me every time that I hear, because I've seen it in practice. It's not only about the presentation, it's not about only saying your results and disseminating them, but also when you see this in practice, you can believe it, that it's happening and somebody does this. Thank you again. And now, Nancy, you can take the floor.
Thank you, Stefan, and thank you for all that shared their materials with us. Now I have the pleasure to invite Andrea Lacono, sorry for the announcement. He's the representative of Engim Albania. Engim is the first organization that break the ice in using and reusing the confiscated asset to convert them in social enterprises, as Cebuena is one of the best examples. And please, Andrea, if you can share your experience, your challenges, and also now more or less 5 years after opening the Cebuena, what are some advices that you may share with the audience? You're muted.
He's not muted, but his microphone probably is not working. We cannot hear you, Andrea. No.
We cannot hear.
I don't know what.
Okay. Now it's okay.
Okay.
It's okay.
Sorry. No, as I started to say, we are not managing a social enterprise. We have started supporting this project thanks to Partners Albania and the project Cause. And we have started supporting the idea and the social business of Che Buono Social Pastry here in Fier. It is quite unique experience in Albania. It's not the only one because it's founded, it's created in a confiscated area, in a confiscated asset from the public institution here in Albania. We are going on working on this kind of project because we are financed by the Italian corporation, and we have financed 7 projects more that are dealing mainly with social enterprises. One of these is an handicraft lab in Elbasan in a confiscated property by the organized crime. In this project, we have financed 7 different project, and we are going on working with Che Buono Social Pastry. Che Buono Social Pastry mainly deal with business activities and social activities because it works quite like a business. It delivers also training opportunities, and one of its goals is to give employment opportunities to disadvantaged women. So this is our main job with Che Buono. Our project, in fact, deals also with and works with public institution, and I've heard some different approach to social enterprise, and I would like to spend 1 minute about this component, the institutional strengthening that we have. We are working with Partners Albania as well in this project as partners. And I've heard that in Turkey, you have 9,000 social enterprise, and you don't have a law about social enterprise. It's quite interesting because we have the law, but we have only 9 social enterprise. It seems quite funny because you have 9,000 and you don't have the law. We have the law and we have only 9. I've heard also that you suggest to include cooperative as social enterprise. In Albania, we can't recognize cooperative as social enterprise because of the law of the Albanian law. Cooperatives are for profit, and social enterprise are no profit organization. So it is quite a big challenge to mix, to understand all of our different experiences. In fact, the Albanian law about social enterprise have a special objective, and it doesn't have any wide view about social enterprise. So as I have mentioned, the law in Albania recognize only no-profit organization as enterprise that can get the status. But it's not only about this, because the main goal of our law is to give job opportunity, work opportunity to unemployed people. Unemployed people, not in general, but the ministry lists a huge list of categories that can be recognized as people in special needs. So the main aspect is the fact that you are giving opportunity to unemployed people. So the Albanian law is quite, I don't know how to say really, is quite unique maybe, because it didn't follow as the Italian law, or diciamo intention, because you can't be a social enterprise if you use your income to economically support social activities, as you have already mentioned, my colleague before me. Or you are not a social enterprise if you deliver social service. You are not a social enterprise if you give employment opportunity to people in needs. You have to be established as a no-profit organization. Then you have to give work opportunities to unemployed people that should be from people in needs. But the categorization of these people is really quite a long one. So the main issue is to fight the unemployment. And I think that this goal is quite not reached by the institution, the Albanian institution. If we see at the number of social enterprises that we have only 9 social enterprises. So from this point of view, and from the point of view of the employability, we do, the Albanian public institution didn't get any results. If we look at our experience, at Che Buono experience, we have 5 people employed, and 3 of them are from people in need. But it's really small things comparing to the Albanian economy or the unemployed situation in Albania. So this is our experience. I don't want to go on further. If you want, I can explain and share with you the idea that we had directly financed. But that's my...
Thank you, Andrea. Thank you very much for your experience and for sharing with us your experience and how is it in Albanian settings in terms of legislation and what it's allowed or not and not. But also now we can go into break rooms I'm opening the break rooms. We have 3 break rooms. It's policy, challenges, and needs. I will be moderating the policy breakout room. Nancy will be moderating the needs group, and Snežan Andrić will be moderating the challenges group. We are a small group here, maybe 5 people each. Just you can choose whatever group you think that it's best for you, but you can also change groups as well. I can assign you if you want, or you can join within the different sections.
Probably each of the participants can join by his or herself. So.
Yes, you have below, you will have if you click more, you will have join breakout room, or below you will see the join breakout room. And then you can choose Okay, guys, I hope you had a fruitful discussion, and it's interesting that there is a lot of similarities between countries in the Western Balkans, but also we've heard that also Turkey has some policy issues when developing policy papers and policy documents. Let me just say to everyone to leave the room, because I see the breakout room. Okay, Dejan is still, I think, in the breakout rooms. Move to main session. Move to main session. Okay, so I will start as the first group discussion. Group discussion was about policy. We've discussed with Gerhard, with Anto, and with Selatin that the difficulties in having a policy for social entrepreneurship is not about having a policy, but in the operationalization and accountability, because we can have policy papers and we will have strategies and action plans, but if they are not operationalized and the politicians or the policy and decision makers are not accountable, then you can just forget about the activities that social enterprises can do. So in this sense, we saw that there is a lack of coordination, a lack of intersectoral communication, a lack of resources, lack of recognition of what social enterprises can do and their potential, and that social enterprises are also still relying on grants and donations instead of start trying to exploit the markets and receive revenues from the market. So overall, this is what we've discussed in a nutshell, and it's something similar that also Selatin mentioned that in Turkey, it's when you're drafting a policy paper, and you say negative things about what is missing in the country or in the ecosystem, not for the country, but in the ecosystem, then they're not listening to you and they do not take that into account, the data and the evidence that you have provided. So, and I can also say that in our countries, well, in North Macedonia, for example, sometimes is similar, because you can provide it and you can publish it and you can say this is lacking and this is what we need to do, but they're not hearing you and they're not reading the evidence of what is there. So in practice, we all have difficulties in developing these policies, probably not developing them, but more in taking activities in and making these activities operational and to work for everyone, for social enterprises, entrepreneurs, and for the whole ecosystem. So I will stop there. In short, Snezhana, can you share with us in summary what you have discussed in the challenges group discussion?
Yes, of course. Thank you very much. So we also had a really nice discussion in our challenges group. With me were Andrea, Dejan, Maya, and Maria. And we had the opportunity to hear situation in North Macedonia and in Albania. And I will try to make it really shortly, but we heard from Andrea that in Albania, the situation with these challenges in the legal frame is that the social enterprises usually should be NGOs, and it's really hard to switch it from the business to non-profit or from the non-profit to business, and how they are, what are they doing in this part. But also from Dejan, we heard that a lot of NGOs and a lot of social entrepreneurs do not have enough experience in leading the business, and also the trainers that are working with the social enterprises do not have enough business experience to to work with them and to give them enough input. Also in Albania, and it's situation I think in every our country, that all these NGOs are really small. They have 1 or 2 employed people, and for example, if they want to be social enterprises, they need to have 2 people in needs, and then this means for them to need to hire 2 extra person and to pay them, of course. Then we were speaking about this institutional financial support, and in Macedonia we heard that there is not enough budget for the financial support of the social enterprises, but but also Andrea was speaking about this in-kind support, and that it will be good for, they give the great example about confiscated cars or abandoned objects that can be used for the, and can be given from the state to the some potential social enterprises. So not to give them financial support, but to give them the in-kind support for their business. And I just maybe to mention, these legal challenges. So then we're speaking about this law in Macedonia that should be done by the end of summer. So yeah, we are fingers crossed to all of you that you are going to make this lobbying part very good, and that during the summer you will end this process, and that it will be a good law, because you should need this, have these 5 characteristics that it show that some enterprises really social enterprises. So I think that maybe this was just really briefly what we were speaking about, and yeah, maybe if you need to add something, Dejan or Andrea, please add, but this was briefly what we were speaking about in the challenges group. You're muted, Stefan.
Thanks. Thank you, Snezhana. Thank you for that summary. Now, Nancy, can we go to your group discussion, and can you summarize what you have discussed?
Thank you, Stefan. When you're the last, it's a bit difficult because some of the issues are mentioned by you or by Snezhana. In our group, we were more from Albania and from Montenegro, and some of the conclusions or needs that we talk, it's very important to have a network in and out. When we say in, it means between the sector, social enterprises, not only in the country, but also in all the region, due to the fact that more or less we have the same situation in the region, but also to reaching the goals that each of the social enterprises has, is very important to spread a bit wide the network, not only in the sector and mostly in the sector of civil society, but also in other sectors. Another point that we discussed is the importance of having a good relation with the university. During all the panel discussions, we mentioned that there are a lack of researches about the social enterprises, and also even there are cases that universities do not have any kind of module, for example in Albania or in other countries, for social enterprises. It's very important, as if I'm not wrong, Snezhana mentioned previously, it's very important to have both the social mindset and also the economic development mindset to the civil society organization, because sometimes we go further in one side or in the other side, and also the lack of reaching out the different kind of funds from different donors. It's very important. So those were things that we mostly discussed during our breakout room.
Thank you, Nancy. Guys, now it's an open discussion. If any of you have to add something in terms of policy or challenges or needs for social enterprises, social entrepreneurs, do you have any, let's say, recommendations that we should advocate for in the future? Because this is, it seems like we are 15 people here. It's a good focus group to try and explore the area of recommendations. So what would you recommend, let's say region-wise, not only national-wise, but region-wise? What will be the recommendations for development of social entrepreneurship ecosystem in the future, for the future? Any suggestions? For example, I would say more networking, providing us with a platform to collaborate on a regional level, not only a national one, and not only certain social enterprises to be involved in certain platforms or networking platforms, but one regional platform where we can collaborate all and we can discuss. This is something that we'll work on in the future, and this is why I am putting it there as a recommendation as well. Also, I can add the improving the intersectoral collaboration and involving all sides. Mm-hmm. I think that every sector should be on the table to express the possibilities and the obstacles of developing a policy or developing something for social entrepreneurship, because it needs to be real, and we have to know that it's viable and feasible to do, because otherwise we are just doing stuff for the sake of it. Anything to add?
So maybe I can add, Stefan. I already wrote down, but as a researcher and a trainer of Turkish National Agency, so as like you know, so there is so many grants on social entrepreneurship, and it's coming up the new ones, it seems that. So as an expert of the grants, so we can apply new projects with all together. I mean, the like Balkan countries and Turkey, I am personally, I would like to use my national and international the network for create our common ecosystem. So it will be really lovely to work with together. So I'm in the university, I work with the university staff. So I work with the development agents, and we have so many contacts like the municipalities, development agencies, and the NGOs as well. So as a person, as a Turkish person, I really would like to create the projects with together. To using maybe just the grants for the Balkan countries, maybe just for Turkey, maybe just for the European Union level. So WhatsApp group is a good idea. I can say that, Stefan. You should have the WhatsApp group. Then we can keep in touch so quickly than the other networks.
Also, I'm taking the floor based on what Stefan said and Selahattin mentioned. Also, it's probably important to have those kind of non-formal meeting to develop new projects, new idea. And this conference was like an initiative to build a kind of network, not only from civil society organization, but also with the representatives of government and other institutions and the researchers also. So
sure, I just want to say that guys, if you identify a funding scheme, a funding program, or a project, or call for proposals, which you seem that it's eligible to come on a regional level to talk with all of us. I'm saying not only with me, but if you think that it's viable and we are eligible to do that, and you think that it will be interesting and in support of social entrepreneurship ecosystem, yeah, of course, just reach out and we can talk, but we need to be proactive rather than reactive, right? So we need to find, if somebody finds a project, not to wait somebody to contact you, but if you find a project, just share. Just say, hey guys, I found this one. You all have our mails, so I found this one. Are you interested in doing this, something like this? No, so we can do it. We're already working on many other things. Hopefully we'll find the capacity to do so, but yeah. Dan, you raise your hand.
Actually, what you're just saying, you know, I really like the idea, both, you know, about the remaining in touch, but also trying to do, because actually this is the difference between social entrepreneurship and applied social entrepreneurship. Just like this, we can set up as a very solid example. Yeah, thank you very much. Fully agree with everything proposed.
Thank you, Stephen. It was truly an insightful and very effective, information-oriented sharing of thoughts and knowledge by the gurus and by the experts. And I don't know, you have been organizing such events, but this is my first experience. It was wonderful. And I have already shared that WhatsApp is a fastest and quickest way of communications. We can have that group, and where people can you know, share their thoughts and ideas coming. I'm working on a project as you were mentioning. Let me work on it. Once the third paper is completed, within a couple of days, I might be sharing that as well. And beside this, the concept of regional level collaborations, cooperations are creating a buzz. I would recommend why not we can have a country oriented you know, such conferences where, you know, the people should be coming up with 360-degree thoughts on the complete ecosystem of entrepreneurships, and that can be a learning experience. And also the second, we wherever we find an opportunity, influence the policy makers, influence the governments, because, you know, at the end of the day, it has a larger impact on the societies and the people as a whole. So wherever we find an opportunity as an individual, as a group, or as an you know, community, you know, advocates and mobilizers, we have to influence who are having a larger impact on the policy making. So that can. And third, nowadays the new buzz is corporate CSR. Corporate CSR has a lots of budgets, and we can think over it. Wherever we can influence, we can you know, guide them. We can you know, assist them about the opportunities where they can chip in, not only in terms of finance, but they have the larger reach as well. They have the resources, reach, expertise, efficiency, all these you know, things they are equipped with. So these are my 2 cents, and maybe in the days to come, when you will form the WhatsApp group, and experts and then the learner people like me can contribute their you know, thoughts and ideas. Thank you very much once again to all the speakers and participants for wonderful ideas, thoughts, and questions and sharing. And the last, I don't know, these presentations given by the very esteemed presenters will be available somewhere. Thank you. Thanks.
Yes, they will be available on the website for the conference. I will share it. You have it in on the chat, but I will share it again. This is, let me just here. We can find here also the country profiles. Yeah, of course, they will just once again briefly will be checked out by a proofreader and everything, just to make sure that everything is fine. And then, of course, will be published there. There already are, but we'll check them again and do that again. And also the presentations, of course, will be there as well for you to see, and well, basically for us to promote the speakers and also the social enterprises that were here on a regional level. Naval, thank you very much for your points. I think that I agree with you. We need a community. Let's have an advice from the IT sector, and you know what they're doing. They're going for the program that has the most community, so they can have support. So let's do it like that. Let's build a community for support all over the world, if possible, and then contribute to each other's work. Thanks again. Guys, any other advices, recommendations?
Oh, thanks a lot for all participants for sharing their time with us, and hope this conference has been very fruitful for all.
Yeah, thank you so much. Let's keep in touch. Don't be strangers, and yeah, let's have some other events as well. Thank you so much, and have a great day. Bye bye.
Have a great day. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you and have a very nice and wonderful day ahead.